Hello, everyone, and welcome to Life Stories. I'm Dr. Dennis Humphrey. Even though my background is in psychological behavior, today we have something very special to discuss with you, and that's including my guest, Mr. Lawrence Connell, who is the grandson of a former major in the U.S. Army Medical Corps who created a very wonderful invention that we'll share with you today. Thank you, Mr. Connell, for joining us, and I believe congratulations are in order, as I believe your father has authored 4 books about your family and their life story. So welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Humphrey, for this opportunity. I think my grandfather's story is timely. At the time of the flu epidemic in 1918, he was serving as a doctor in the U.S. Army in Europe. But the first concern of the troops was not the flu, it was enemy fire, which included the use of deadly mustard gas. The gas mask he invented saved the lives of likely thousands of soldiers.
Well, I'm sure today, as in 1918, given the pandemic that we're dealing with today, a lot of people are concerned. So can you tell us about your grandfather's invention and the relevance of that today?
The gas mask is relevant to our fight against the coronavirus in at least 3 ways. First, it was intended to protect people from inhaling something that could be deadly, to save lives, just as those working on the response to COVID-19 are doing, whether looking for a vaccine or retooling factories to build respirators. Second, the use of poison gas in World War I was an international problem, and the invention of an effective gas mask helped to curb the use of gas, since the gas was rendered harmless. Likewise, COVID-19 is an international problem that will benefit from shared technological solutions, whether vaccines or treatment protocols. And third, my grandfather tested the gas mask on himself, putting his own health and life at risk. That's an example of the kind of personal sacrifice that many frontline responders are making today to help save the lives of others. But my grandfather's story and the significance for our times didn't end there. He also invented one of the first effective machines for delivering anesthesia. His invention was able to control the flow of different gases, delivering precise doses of anesthetics. It's a forerunner of the respiratory machines being used to help people breathe. Both the mask and the machine are described in my father's book, Biography of an Inventor, Dr. Connell. The book also has lots of photographs so readers can better picture the people and the places it describes.
Well, tell me a little bit more about your grandfather, his life story, and the background. Share it with our viewers, please.
My grandfather was born on July 4th, 1878, in Omaha, Nebraska. He grew up there and attended Omaha High School. He was interested in science and had an uncle who was a doctor. So right after high school, in 1896, he enrolled in Creighton Medical School in Omaha. At that time, one entered medical training directly as an undergraduate. He continued his medical training at Columbia University in New York, graduating in 1900. After that, he interned for 2 years and in 1902 was accepted as a surgeon at Roosevelt Hospital in Manhattan.
As we near the end of our segment, Mr. Connell, would you please share with our viewers how they can reach out to you and maybe even get more information about your grandfather and your father's books?
As a surgeon, my grandfather performed hundreds of operations in the decade that followed his medical school graduation. One of the problems was to do this without causing pain. Anesthetic gases were still being developed. He developed an anesthetometer to measure the delivery of gases. This was before anesthetic machines were generally available. This experience in delivery of gases also helped him to know how to filter gases or prevent the wrong gases from being transmitted. Also, in 1911, my grandfather enlisted in the New York National Guard. Then, between 1915 and 1917, he had 3 formative experiences. First, in 1915, he was one of a team of doctors from New York selected to help set up field hospitals behind the front lines in France. Second, in 1916, he was commissioned as a sanitary observer. The U.S. was still officially neutral in World War I, so he received official permission to travel to Germany to see how they managed medical treatment of their wounded. And third, later in 1916, his regiment of the National Guard was called up for active duty to the Mexican border to repel raids by the Mexican rebel leader Pancho Villa. Thus, by the time the U.S. entered World War I in April 1917, he had a clear idea of the dangers of battle and exceptional knowledge of gases and managing gas flow. This led to his selection by the U.S. Army to improve the very faulty gas mask then in use. He worked on its design and production in France and in Britain. The success of his effort is indicated by the fact that the fatality rate for U.S. soldiers suffering from gas attacks was 2%. That's less than 1/5 of the British rate of 11.4%. So given that over 72,000 U.S. soldiers were hit by gas attacks, one can calculate that his gas mask saved perhaps over 6,800 American soldiers' lives. Yes, sir. For readers interested in the books, please reach me at flyboy6166@yahoo.com. That's flyboy, F-L-Y-B-O-Y 6166@yahoo.com.
Well, I'm sure you're going to have many requests from our viewers to learn more about your family and your family history. One of the things we like to do at Life Stories is make sure that our viewers have an opportunity to learn more about those who have life stories, but to also inspire them to continue to build their own life stories so that they can share it with others on Life Stories. So I'm Dr. Dennis Humphrey. Thank you, GTV Network, Fox 5 Plus, and thank you to our viewers. Mr. Connell, thank you for joining us today. Have a great day.